It's me, Zenobia Darling. You're listening to hashtag Rockstar Life, the Coffee Break podcast. Let's go. Where the hell's my cold brew at?
Ooh, what's up, guys? It's me, Zenobia Darling. I'm coming at you on a very rainy, dreary December day. I don't know. It's that weird lull week between Christmas and New Year's where, like, I feel like time stands still. Every day feels like a Sunday. It's just that weird period. And this weather in Maryland has been really horrible and gross, and I haven't seen the sun in 3 days, which really bothers me. But I'm coming at you with a New Year's espresso shot. So we're in the middle of a Mercury retrograde right now. I'm feeling it. Plus, there was a full moon on the 26th, and just like shit's like real crazy right now. And a lot of booking, a lot of my guest booking for the podcast has fallen through because of the retrograde. Just stuff comes up and guests can't come on. It's part of doing the podcast. It's part of life. And so I kind of was like, you know what? Let's just do a solo espresso shot. I have some really good guests coming up in January. I have some real diehard Bravo fans coming on. I have some real aspirational creatives coming on in January and February. So we're looking at a very bright new year for Zenobia Darling Creative and just your favorite punk rock drag superstar. But I figured for this episode, it's New Year's Eve, it's a new year. Let's celebrate it by talking about pop culture. So right before Christmas, that third Thursday of the month, last week, actually, I did a stand-up set at the State Theater of Havre Grace, part of Big Timing's open mic night, the third Thursday of each month. You always see me and a lot of people that've been on the podcast perform at that. And I did a stand-up set on Paris Hilton, and I didn't bomb per se, but only 4 people in the crowd of like 50 knew who Paris Hilton was and was really invested in it, because my pop culture stuff just doesn't really work in Havre Grace. But it works on the podcast. So I figured I would give you guys a little bit of that stand-up set on Paris in Love. Because if you're not watching Paris in Love on Peacock, you are missing out. It is such a wild adventure. The season 2 just dropped in November. I've already watched it, dissected it. Big Kathy Hilton's on there. We get Kim Richards. There's a huge Real House of Beverly Hills crossover, but it's gold. And I figured I would just talk about it. Also, I saw Madonna last week. I saw Madonna on her Celebrations tour when she came to DC, and it fucking blew my mind. So I figured I'd get into it. And also, a few of you guys have been messaging me on my Instagram with questions about what you guys want me to like ask. I didn't do an official like question pool like I have before, but a few of you guys have asked me some questions and I wrote some of them down and I would give you guys some answers on them. So let's get into all of it. There is so much to get into. Okay, first up, Madonna. I saw Madonna last week. This is her Celebrations tour. I fucking love Madonna. I mean, I was that kid at 10, 11, I was performing on my back porch. I always was a Warholian superstar. I always was a performer and always a drag queen. And I was obsessed with Madonna even when I was like little. And my mom was like, she's too adult. I didn't give a shit. I loved her. I knew I liked what I saw. I just fucking love Madonna. I'm a Madonna gay first and foremost. Well, no, I say I'm a Kathy Griffin gay, but it's also Madonna, Lady Gaga. I love Madonna. And this is my third time seeing Madonna. I've seen her on the MDMA tour, and I saw her on Rebel Heart tour. And Rebel Heart is probably my second favorite Madonna album, so seeing Rebel Heart was amazing. First favorite, though, is the Erotic album. That's like the best thing. Came out when the Sex Book came out in the early 90s. It's just Madonna at her peak, and she was riding the high from the Blind Ambition tour. So I saw Madonna. I got random tickets. I mean, I was in the pit right up there. I mean, I was so close to Madonna. You could pretty much reach out and touch her. That's the way I like to see shows. I don't really go to concerts anymore just because I'm like over being in the crowd. I'm over it. But I will see Madonna, and this tour fucking delivered. The Celebration tour, it's high theater. It's only stuff Madonna can do. And I swear to God, Taylor Swift kept talking about her eras. I'm not a big Taylor Swift person. Many of my friends are. I'm good. I don't subscribe to that brand of pop music. I don't really subscribe to Taylor as a person. I just think she's kind of basic and kind of makes that basic high school mentality aspirational, which I don't really like. I mean, I wasn't a cool kid in high school. I don't subscribe to that type of behavior, and I feel like she has it. And I just like, I don't know. I'm not a Taylor Swift person, and she has eras, but she's only been a pop star for the last 15 years. Madonna's been a pop star since the early 80s. I mean, that's 40, 50 years of history of her being a major pop star. And she basically wrote, with her Blonde Ambition tour, she basically changed touring to what all these bitches do. And if it wasn't for Madonna, Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga, Britney Spears, Janet Jackson, all those queens who we love, they would not be doing what they're doing. Madonna is the greatest. And she's also an artist, first and foremost. And she thinks of her stage shows as high theater art. And if this fucking concert delivered. She comes out, she's this black Victorian angel, and she kind of died, and she's singing Ray of Light mute song, she does Nothing Really Matters and Love Is All You Need, kind of saying hey, this is my life, it doesn't really matter, I have love, I've subscribed to it, nothing, all this doesn't matter. And then it's almost like she died and she was in purgatory and she's doing a life review. That was the premise of it. And then she goes into all her eras. I mean, she starts going into the Blonde Ambition tour. And if you go back, pop culture history, one of the breakout, most amazing documentaries ever made. It's not more than a documentary. It's almost like a reality show documentary, was Madonna's Truth or Dare. It came out in 92 and it was her on tour with the Blonde Ambition tour. And you see her dancers, many of them were gay men, many of them were dealing with HIV and just coming out to their families. And it was the first time you really saw gay and queer people in that type of spotlight. And Madonna kind of gave them the spotlight and was focusing on them and focusing on Madonna. And she was one of the first pop stars to really give you that access and to really do it, because now everyone does it. Justin Bieber, Katy Perry, Lady Gaga, Taylor Swift they're all doing that stuff now. And it's Madonna who was the trailblazer for it. So if you go back and watch the Truth or Dare documentary, it's amazing. And you see in there where she does a lot of performances from the Blonde Ambition tour, and one of the ones is Live to Tell, or no, not Live to Tell. It's Like a Virgin, where she's on a bed with pink satin sheets, and she's basically masturbating and having an orgasm. And that's and it's this Middle Eastern remixed version of Like a Virgin, and it's just so good. And you see on there where she was in Canada, of all places, and the police were we're going to shut it down if you start touching yourself, if you start simulating masturbation, because it violates an obscenity law. And Madonna's basically fuck you guys. I'd much rather cancel the show than be censored. It's my art, and I'm not censoring it. It's, and you get to see that. And she fucking did it and killed it. And that's why I fucking love Madonna. She was so punk rock, and she didn't give a fuck. She did it. This replayed it again during the MDMA tour, when they had 2 stops in Russia, and Russia was threatening to censor it because she highlighted gay people. And she's like, fuck it. I'll much rather cancel the show than be censored. You're not going to do that to me. And you get to see that, and it plays into the documentary. Well, Madonna fucking had a dancer in her Blonde Ambition tour on a satin bed and was kind of reliving that moment. So I got to see, I didn't get to see the Blonde Ambition tour. I mean, my mom saw it when she was pregnant with me, so I saw it in utero. But I wasn't alive really when that tour was happening. I remember seeing on the Truth or Dare. I mean, that's one of my favorite movies. But she fucking did it again, and it's just she kind of had it with a life review and kind of danced and interacted with it. And then probably the most saddest, most emotional moment of the whole thing was she did Live to Tell, and she played portraits of gay men that she knew that lost of AIDS. I mean, that we lost to the AIDS crisis in the in the 80s and 90s. And and people forget about that. And it was Madonna was really, I mean, the Keith Haring, Freddie Mercury, I believe Robert Mapplethorpe was there. Many of these people who have been very influential in our pop culture, very influential in my artistry and the way I go about being a creative with, modern day social media comes from these people. And I mean, we had an entire generation of Favolosity and gay men just wiped off the planet because of HIV. And the Reagan administration didn't give a fuck. It was a whole thing. I mean, you can watch, this is not anything new. Watch Pose, watch Paris is Burning, watch any movie that takes place in the late 80s, early 90s in New York City that deals with gay characters, anything like that, you're going to know about the crisis. And I mean, it was a big thing. And I think people, especially gay people and queer people nowadays, they forget that. And they forgot that people... I mean, it was like, I know people who lived during that time period just in Baltimore and in New York, and they're like, every day someone new died. Every day. It was like, you would constantly get a phone call. This person died. That person died. All of AIDS. And it was a huge crisis. So that's why I get really pissed when I see these gay men. I'm not getting on my soapbox here. When I see these fucking gay men going out there, barebacking through metropolitan areas, having unsafe sex, and thinking because they're on PrEP and Truvada that they can have unsafe sex. Put a fucking condom on, wear it. Like, those gay men didn't die for you to bareback your way through a neighborhood. Like, wear a fucking condom, be safe. Yes, we have made many strides in HIV and AIDS medicine and healthcare. It's not a death sentence. It's more of like a chronic illness now, but you still don't want it. And you still don't want any STDs or STIs. So make sure you put a fucking condom on. And by doing that, you're slapping these gay men who died of AIDS in the face. And I just find that really distasteful. I'm all about being a slut. Go out, fuck a bunch of people, just be safe about it. That's all I'm saying. And remember, like, we gay people and queer people now are standing on the backs of these people that died. And Madonna really was like, hey, like, I lost many friends during this time period, and she did live to tell with that. And I started bawling, and the whole crowd started bawling, because you really realize, like, it's really sad. Like, it's really sad, the history of gay people. And I feel like the younger generation doesn't understand that. And they're so focused now on identity politics and playing into the culture war, when it's like, we need to all band together as gay people and queer people. And we have had to do that. And people back then did have to. And but then she, because I always say, when you do theater, you can take people there. You got to be able to bring them back. And she fucking did. Then she went into American Life, that whole era. And then she went into like 80s Madonna and like Rebel Heart and MDMA and she did all the hits. It was all the old queens were out, all the ones that survived from that time period. It was so, I fucking love Madonna. Madonna is the greatest thing there ever was. And let me just say this too. I fucking watched a video of Joe Rogan talking about how fucked up Madonna's face is now and how fucked up her body is in her ass with plastic surgery. Let me say this. I do not give a flying fuck what Madonna looks like. Madonna has paid her dues. She can get whatever plastic surgery she wants. She's a fucking billionaire. And it's real dense of people like Joe Rogan and these douchey straight guys who think they run culture, like, to sit there and comment on her body. And then the same fucking sentence, Joe Rogan is talking about how it's okay if a guy injects anabolic steroids and gets jacked by bodybuilding. You're saying that's okay, but a woman getting plastic surgery is gross. Fuck you. That's sexist. That's a piece of shit mentality. It's the same thing. You're literally, like, instead of getting injected with Botox and Restylane and filler and all that stuff, you're fucking injecting yourself with steroids that have horrible side effects, and you're basically like in a gym every day slaving away to become a bodybuilder. Yes, one of my goals of 2024 is to get my modeling body back and to get back into working out way more. I want to get buff, but like at the same time, it's like I'm doing it safely, and that's my choice. And the fact that like someone like Joe Rogan, a white straight guy, sits there and acts like he can say that shit, fuck you. I hate that shit. Madonna is fucking Madonna. Don't fuck with her. Leave her alone. She can look whatever the fuck she wants to look like. She's 62 or 3, and she put on fucking, I will say though, it didn't start till 10:45, and it was a Monday night. We didn't get out of there till 1 a.m. I mean, I'm all about that. I'm a night owl, but still, I'm just saying, Madonna, start on time. Don't be a diva. But at the same time, it's fucking Madonna. She earned the right to do that. And she earned the right to get whatever plastic surgery she wants and whatever face it is. It's that shit fucking pisses me off. Okay. All right, ad break. I gotta pay for all this damn coffee I'm drinking and tea I'm spilling. It's me, Zenobia Darling. So, as many of you know, I'm more than just a podcaster, stand-up comic, and drag queen. I'm also a very accomplished painter and photographer, and you can check it all out on ZenobiaDarlingCreative.com. I have an art blog on there sponsored by the Harford County Cultural Arts Board, and just all my paintings, photography, you get podcast stuff. I have an art film that premiered in September that you can buy on there too. So make sure you check it out. It supports me, supports the podcast. All right, so let's get back to the podcast. Okay, enough about Madonna. Let's get into Paris Hilton. So, in November, Paris Hilton's Paris in Love, the first season was about her getting married. The second season just dropped on Peacock, and it's done by the same production company that does Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So there's a major Real Housewives crossover. I mean, we've seen Kathy Hilton on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Well, she didn't come on this season because when they were filming this season of Beverly Hills, she was on Paris in Love, season 2. And, I mean, I have fucking always loved Paris Hilton. Paris Hilton, she just is... I've always gotten it. I always knew that she was playing a character. She was very more Warholian than I think people give her credit for. She also comes from that, like, late 90s... Like, it started in the 90s, but she comes from this, like, club kid, New York City drag nightlife universe. Like, she comes from that world, and she is very Warholian. She is very much a drag queen. She is very much playing a character, and she's using drag, honestly, to heal trauma and to kind of survive. And I've always gotten that. I've always idolized her. I remember in middle school, this was, like, in 2003 or 4, I was at middle school at Havre Middle School, and I was in 7th or 8th grade. I remember my science teacher was named Miss Hamrick, and she was doing some demonstration where she lit a Bunsen burner, and when she lit a Bunsen burner, I was like, oh, that's hot. And she was like, get out. And she kicked me out of class, and I had to go down to the principal's office because, you know, I said that. And that's something that I'm still just like, well, and I remember always being like, I talk about a lot of my books, like, I always wanted to be Paris Hilton. In middle school, I was very gender fuck and very, like, not confused, but I was trying to figure out what this feminine side of me was, and I was like, I'm gonna be fucking Paris Hilton. I mean, I grew my hair a little bit long, I dyed it blonde. I just wanted to be Paris Hilton. I thought that was gorgeous, and like, I just wanted to be her because she didn't have to wake up in the morning. She didn't have to deal with these fucking idiots. Like, and like, middle school was so bad. Like, I was bullied every day. People were so fucking I mean, my entire middle school and high school, my entire experiences in school in general was just, I was horrendously bullied and just like, it was disgusting. I hated it. But to kind of survive it, I wanted to be Paris Hilton. And I love Paris Hilton. She's a fucking icon. And like, so I've always had this love of Paris, and I always feel like she doesn't get the credit for what she did do, and for how smart she is, and for how like she survived her trauma, and she's really coming out recently, like in the past few years, with her most recent documentary on like her trauma at a troubled teen school in Utah, and how she was a bad kid, and her parents sent her away to the school where she was basically abused, which is so fucked up. And it's kind of been this rectifying, because I remember watching talk shows of the 90s and early 2000s, like Sally Jesse Raphael, Maury. Oh, my kid's bad. Oh, I smoke and do drugs, all that shit. And then they would be sent to one of these schools. And like Dr. Phil did it up until probably like 5 years ago. So like, this stuff isn't new. And they would send these kids to these schools where they would basically be getting abused. And Paris is like openly talking about it. And I find that so refreshing. I find that so amazing. I love it. But on her show, Paris in Love, like, the other thing about Paris that I don't think people realize is she also is part of the 1% and lives in this bubble where she does stuff that only someone like Paris Hilton can do. Like, only someone of her caliber, of her money, of her privilege, of her wealth can do. And she acts like it's normal. And she kind of has this, like, she definitely has like a colored lens into that, where she doesn't really realize that normal people can't really do this stuff and that she is incredibly lucky. So she kind of has this like full of shitness that I fucking love. You want to know who else who has that full of shitness? Fucking Oprah. I fucking love Oprah. I've seen every episode of the Oprah Winfrey Show since 1999. I can tell you, I fucking love Oprah, but also Oprah is so full of shit. I mean, just continuously, just like read her magazine even today. I mean, she's full of fucking shit. And it's like, that's why I fucking love Oprah. And Paris Hilton has that quality to it. And they really are playing into it with Paris in Love, especially the second season that like, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So when I did this set at the State Theater, I mean, it actually is. So I'm just gonna spill this. I am filming my second art film. It's gonna be called #RockstarLife Mercury Retrograde. We are in a Mercury I already said this before, but I'm filming it. I'm kind of filming the chaos that's been happening, and it'll probably come out this summer. But you will see this stand-up set in the art film. You can check out my first one, #RockstarLife, the art film, on my website. I'll put the link below on the episode description. But like, I filmed this and I didn't bomb, but no one knows who Paris Hilton is here. No one really, the pop culture, I'm trying to think, the pop culture, like, knowledge in Harford and Cecil counties is not there to where I can really do my Kathy Griffin, Joan Rivers style of pop culture comedy. Funny's funny. I still can do really good comedy here. I just don't really do my pop culture stuff. And I wanted to just try this stuff out. And I mean, I didn't really do the best, but at the same time, it's coming out here. So that was something that was kind of funny that happened. So I go into it. I mean, I was like, do you guys know who Paris Hilton is? And like 3 people said, oh my God, yeah. And then I was like, like she's blonde, that's hot. Her little dog Tinkerbell, the sex tape. Can we talk about the sex tape for a minute? I mean, Kim Kardashian, that's another thing. Side note on Kim Kardashian. I watched it was Hulu or Peacock documentary on the Kardashians. And basically, Kim and Kris did the Paris Hilton mold to become what they are now. And they wouldn't say if they intentionally did the sex tape, but I mean, come on. We all know. But Paris Hilton did it first. She had the sex tape and then did the Simple Life. And because of the sex tape leaking, the Simple Life took off. I love the Simple Life. They even filmed it in Harford County. People forget that. When they were doing the Simple Life, it was in the Northeast, and they came down from New York like on a bus and were doing normal jobs, and they were like interns that whole season. And they stayed at a house in Bel Air, Maryland, and they were interns at Fox 45 News in Baltimore. And like Paris did the weather, and it was November, December. So, and then they filmed at like Harford Mall. So they were here. And like, I have always remembered, I think one of my friends actually knows the family that they stayed with, and they're still are in touch too. Like Paris is cool like that. So is like Nicole Richie. So that's something that I don't think people realize is there is a Harford County connection to these people. They have been here before. It's on the Simple Life. I mean, they were in Delaware. They were all over the Northeast, during that filming of it. So getting into Paris in Love. So it starts out the first episode, Diamond Baby, her Chihuahua, not Tinker, but this is her black and brown teacup Chihuahua, Diamond Baby. Diamond Baby runs away, and we see Paris Hilton like flipping out. She loves Diamond Baby, and she can't figure out what happens. And then, can we talk about Paris's husband? I mean, he's a little bit like, something's off about him. And this is all allegedly, but do we know if he kills people? Do we know if he eats babies? I don't know. That's all allegedly. I'm just making comedy, but like, something's off. There's a little deadness behind his eyes. Something's off. I don't really know what it is, but something's off. I mean, it's just like, I'm just gonna say that. So she's like flipping out, and only Paris Hilton can fucking do something like that. Like, have a dog run away, and then what does she say? I want to get her cloned. What? Only, like, really, Paris, you're going to get your fucking dog cloned? Like, it's crazy. And only Paris can do something like that. Do you know how expensive it is to clone the dog? I looked it up because my sister has a teacup Chihuahua, and I was like, how much would it be to clone Debo? It's like $50,000 to clone a dog. Like, and you need, like, I forget, she saved the cord blood from when Diamond Baby was born, and that's what they used to clone it. But I'm like, what? It's not the same soul. Like, that's the thing about this cloning. Like, yes, it's going to be the exact copy of your of your dog, it's not the same soul. Like the soul's is crossed over. Like, I don't understand that. Like, I love my cat Melvin. I love Melvin so much. I know if I cloned Melvin, it's not Melvin. It might be another cat. It might be the cat's personality might have Melvin's personality, but it's not the same soul. And so that's something that I think she needs to like realize is that there is that weirdness to it. And I'm good. But can we talk about the damn dogs for a minute? Her fucking dogs. And, Paris is an animal lover. I got her book from the library. I'm not paying for books. I mean, I'm a huge public library person. Shout out to Harford County Public Library. They don't sponsor the podcast, but I love the library. I love using its resources. It's a very punk rock thing in our society. You get free books. Also, this is another thing about my whole art thing. So they have a connection to the local community college here, their library. So you can get books that are in Harford Community College's collegiate library. They have access to that database. So you can have those books sent to, like I'm in Havre de Grace, I get them sent to the Havre de Grace branch, and then I get them. So I'm getting like these collegiate art theory and criticism books on various topics. They have everything. And also, they have a little bit more adult content. Like, they're the uncensored, like, I mean, this is art theory, and art deals with a lot of nudity and the human form and stuff like that, and some more risque topics, and they have all of them. And I get them sent there to the Havre de Grace branch, and I fucking love that. I mean, shout out to the library. I mean, it's the most punk rock thing in our society. You get free books. Well, and also, I'm dyslexic, so I have a hard time reading books, but I like to have books read to me while I follow along. That's just how I read. And I got Paris Hilton's book, and she read it to me from the audiobook, and she was talking about how she's always been a dog lover, and Tinkerbell is probably her most famous one, but she has a bunch of dogs, and their names are only names that someone like Paris Hilton can do. I mean, I wrote some of them down. We all know Tinkerbell. We all know, I've already talked about Diamond Baby. There's Slivington, because her new thing, That's Hot is, Sliving. So she's a dog named Slivington. She's another one named Crypto. There's Ether, which is another cryptocurrency. Prince Tokyo, Prince Paris Jr., and then my personal favorite, Harajuku Bitch. I love that. Harajuku Bitch. So I've been going around calling Melvin Bitch because I love that you named your dog Harajuku Bitch. Only fucking Paris Hilton. I mean, it's just like, and they all live. So in Paris in Love season 2, she moves from this house, but she had a $13 million house. I looked it up online. I believe it was in the probably Calabasas, somewhere out there. It was in LA, and she moves from it, but she had like a mock-up doghouse built for all the dogs. This fucking house is bigger than my current apartment in Havre de Grace right now. It had running water, it had AC and heat, it had a fucking chandelier. I'm like, for your fucking dogs, Paris. Only Paris Hilton can do that. It's very Marie Antoinette. There's very like, I don't know. There's something very weird about that. In front of fucking meta, like, you have that much money that you can do that. Your dogs are living better than probably 70% of Americans right now. Because I'll just real quick, this economy, what the fuck is happening? We are not in a good economy. Most of my friends are poor. We're struggling. It's just a weird time right now. But you also have this incredible excess in, these certain individuals. And Paris Hilton is one of them, where it's like your dogs, Paris Hilton's dogs, are living better than 70% of the population. And I find that wild. Diamond Baby runs away, and then she just like, so she wants to get her cloned, but then, so that's like one of the plot lines. The other plot line is something only Paris Hilton can do. So her and that husband, we're going to call her, I mean, is he a clone too? I don't know. There's something off about him. So they are getting a surrogate. They want to have a baby, and so they pay to get IVF. So he jerks off in a cup. They get her eggs, and she does these treatments, and you can see her like injecting herself. And so they get a surrogate, and they have a baby. So basically, they're renting another woman's womb. I know a lot of babies do that, but it's so weird that rich people can do that nowadays. Like, Paris even said, like, I don't want to get pregnant. It freaks me out. But she still wants kids, so you can just, like, rent someone's womb. Like, I just find that so fascinating. And, I mean, I'm not going to get into the ethics about that, but it's weird. It's like, that's the world. It's a little dystopian for me. It's just like, I don't know. So then so the whole storyline though is that she shows that she has a woman pregnant with her surrogating her baby. And so, but she doesn't want to tell anyone. She doesn't want to tell her mother. She wants to control the narrative, which I get with Paris Hilton. I mean, she is someone that has had a lot of trauma with like the paparazzi and the media, and she wants to control everything. So she's flipping out. Like, not even her staff know that she is a surrogate and whatnot. No one knows. Like, she's filming a reality TV show. So there's cameras following her. So there's this weird, like, I don't even know, like weird moment where you're like, wait a minute, you're flipping out about people filming it and getting pictures to the point where like she makes her husband put like no photography or video allowed in the room where the nursery is. But yet every time you go in there, you have a camera crew following you around because you're filming a reality show. There's something like that I find that very fascinating because it's like only Paris has that. And I get it. She's controlling the narrative, but it's just like, it's weird. It's very weird. It's very, I don't know. It's like, I don't know how to really like phrase that, but I don't know. It's only Paris. So then we get the mom, Kathy Hilton, and they show the Christmas party, and Kathy is a fucking monster. I mean, on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, like she was kind of edited to be a little bit laughable and kind of like quirky, like Kim Richards, and she possesses that Kim Richards-ness. But on the show, the last season with Lisa Rinna, she had a meltdown and Lisa Rinna saw it. I 100% believe Rinna. Rinna does not lie like that. And I 100% believe that Kathy Hilton's a fucking monster. And we kind of see it on this season of Paris in Love because they show the Christmas party and Kathy keeps having hot mic moments where she's like reading people to filth. Oh my God, his breath smells bad. Oh God, did you film that? And you get to see where she is that monster. And I fucking love it. I love it. But Paris also has a bit of that monsterness. Paris is her offspring. So Paris fucks with her. Paris did not tell anyone in the family that she had a baby. So let's get back to the baby. So they go into the hospital because a surrogate's giving birth. So they get into a private hospital room, and then Paris is like, so they're setting up all these cameras, and then they're like, hold on, don't come in yet. We don't have the cameras ready. And then they bring them in, and then Paris is like, you have that moment where Paris is like trying, like, oh my God, this is my baby. But she's like trying to bond, but you can see it's like weird. And then Paris is like laying in bed with like a ring acting like she just gave birth. I'm like, girl, come on. And we get to see the husband bawling, which I did like that he was showing emotion on camera, but it's just, there's something off about it. I don't know how to really like phrase it because there's just, it's weird. There's something just off. So she's in the hospital, and then 8 days later, she invites Kathy into her house, her new house after they moved. And, so she butters Kathy up with like Chanel, like, here you go, mom. And then she goes away and comes back with the baby, Phoenix Barrett Hilton, whatever the dude's last name is. Like, you know, and just like Kathy is there, and Kathy is one of those Beverly Hills women where she's had clearly a facelift. She clearly gets Botox. She clearly gets some work done. And as Kathy Griffin would always say, she gets some dentist work done. She goes to the dentist. That's what people say when they want, or what's the other one? You get a nose job, it's sinus surgery, which, I mean, I'm not knocking it. But when you get that much Botox, you can't move your face, so when you cry and show emotion, you make this demon face. Like Sheena Shea and a lot of the Vanderpump Rules people, when they're crying, they make a demon face because of the Botox. Kathy Hilton's doing that, and she just brings the baby out and it's like, here's your grandson, and it's like, what the fuck? And you could tell Kathy is pissed, but she also is like, oh my God, this is my grandson. So you can just see her go through a ton of emotions, and Paris is like nervous about it, and it's like, another thing I clocked about Paris Hilton, so she was being kind of aggressive with like not wanting anyone in the room or not wanting anyone in that room when she surprised Kathy, but she made her husband kick all her staff out, and she's like, don't tell him it's for me. So that's kind of like Paris, like, okay, Paris, you're saving face, and I clocked it. So that's something where I'm like, Paris, you're cut from the same cloth as Kathy. And then we get Kim Richards. Kyle Richards is going to be nowhere because they're feuding again. And not only that, like Kyle and Mauricio have done some fucked up shit to Kathy and her husband, Rick, who's a major real estate developer. Like, there's been some shadiness. You can go back into Beverly Hills and see all that bullshit. I know I'm talking history, but go do that. So Kyle's nowhere to be found, but Kim Richards makes these appearances. We also get appearances of like Kris Jenner and Kim Kardashian and Kimora Lee Simmons and Faye Resnick, who I fucking love. So there's a lot of Beverly Hills crossover in this. So like the mom is like doing the demon cry face, trying to connect with the baby. And then at the very end, so after all that, we get to see Kathy's like party, we get to see all the celebrities, and we get to see her like Beverly Hills promotional photo as pop art in Paris's room. We get to see Nikki Hilton, who Nikki seems like she's pretty normal. We get to see Paris going to DC. So she's basically like it has a very real My Life on the D-List vibe, like Kathy Griffin's My Life on the D-List. That show, I fucking love Kathy Griffin. I mean, she's my comedy mentor. I'm really trying to get her on the podcast just because she's just my number one. And Paris's show, you can tell, is cut from the same cloth as My Life on the D-List, because Paris does a lot of things that Kathy did, like go to DC and in New York doing press for the movie, for the documentary she made, and for just being Paris Hilton, being a socialite. And so at the very end, the last episode, she brings Kathy over again and surprises her. And what does she bring out? And Kathy thinks it's another baby, which then we did find out Paris did have another surrogate because she had a girl, baby London, which we'll get into the names in a minute. But she did have Kathy come over and she's like, I got a surprise for you. So Kathy, you could tell, is like freaked out, and she's pissed because she's like, this bitch had another baby and didn't tell me. She brings out 2 teacup chihuahuas that are fucking Diamond Baby's clones. So the clones are Diamond and Baby, and they're the fucking clones. Like, are you kidding me? They are the fucking clones of the baby. Only Paris Hilton can do something like that. Only she can, it's nuts. It's so nuts to me that she fucking cloned her dogs and did a reveal like that it's like she was fucking with Kathy, and I fucking loved it. I loved it. It just, oof. So I'm going to end the Paris Hilton bit on this. Paris named her son Phoenix because Paris is named after Paris, France. And I've been to Paris. It's not, well, we all have seen A Night in Paris. I mean, master sex tape, but I've been to Paris, France. I like it, but it reminds me of DC in a way, and it's dirty. It's the city of lights and dog shit. It's fun. I like the culture. There is this romanticized version of Paris, but Paris to me doesn't do it anymore. Like, I love, like, Western Europe is okay. Go visit it, but I'm more about, like, I want to go to Africa. I want to go to the Middle East. I want to go to Southeast Asia. I want to go to South America. I want to go to other places that are not Western Europe because I don't think there's that much culture difference between the East Coast of the United States and fucking Western Europe. Like, I'm good. But she's named after Paris, France, and so she wants her kids to have names after cities. So what does she name her boy? Phoenix, after Phoenix, Arizona. Really, bitch? You're going to name your son Phoenix after Phoenix, Arizona? I hate Arizona. I love the desert. I love the Southwest. I mean, I've lived in Vegas. I really want to move back. I love New Mexico. But fucking Arizona is, ugh. On the West Coast, Arizona is the Florida of the West Coast. I hate Florida. It's full of crazies. It's hot. Like, right now, it's December. I bet you it's probably 85 degrees right now in Phoenix. And this summer, I mean, the entire month of July, it was like 130 degrees. I'm good. And you're like, oh, there's no humidity. Yeah, you take humidity out there's no humidity. It's fucking oven heat. I mean, it's like fucking hot. It's hot as shit. It's crazy. And you're going to name your kid Phoenix after Phoenix, Arizona. Only Paris. I mean, London's a cute name, but I'm like, London, really? There's other names. There's other cities that I think are great that you can name your kids, but London, really? But anyway, so that's my little bit on Paris Hilton. So I do have like a few questions and I'll wrap this up, and you watch Paris in Love season 2 on Peacock. It just fucking delivers. I love it. Just so good. All right. So I got a few questions that you guys have wanted. You guys messaged me. Some of these are good. So someone asked, and this kind of ties back into Paris in Love, what do you think of Kim Richards' art? So we have seen her art. Kim Richards, she does make an appearance in Paris in Love, and she also makes an appearance in Beverly Hills. And we get to see on Beverly Hills where Kim Richards is doing art. I will say this. I mean, everyone know you can go to my website, zenobiadarlingcrave.com. I'm a very accomplished painter and photographer, neo-expressionist painter. I love art, and I also am working on getting my MFA. Like, I'm applying to grad school now. And I will say, Kim is a really good artist. It gets my stamp of approval. It is Zenobia Darling approved. It's very much inspired by cave art. It's very much her drawing on the walls, which I'm all about, but I mean, and that goes back to like prehistoric humans drawing on cave walls. So it has a good cave art feel and it has a good graffiti feel. I will say though, I think Kim is sober. She was acting very very lucid and very like together on both shows, but she still has her zaniness. But it reminds me a little bit of like, oh, I took too much drugs. I'm going to paint on the walls. That's all I'm going to say about it. I don't think she's relapsed, but I'm just saying it has that crackhead energy, but I'm all down for it. I'm down for it. I mean, I'm all about painting on the walls. I mean, I don't paint on the walls. I don't, but I do paint on canvases, but it's very good. I like her art. All right. What other thing? What else? What are you looking forward to in 2024? There's a lot. 2024, it's going to be an amazing year. I can feel it. I can feel like some stuff's happening. Probably the thing I'm looking forward to the most is Kathy Griffin's tour. Kathy Griffin, my idol, I've talked about it before. She is going back on tour the first time since the Laugh Your Head Off tour after the whole Trump thing. It's called My Life on the PTSD tour, and she's kind of feeling the waters. But I saw her in Vegas over the summer when the first time she was performing in 6 years. She kills. She kills. I love Kathy Griffin. And just to talk on the whole Trump thing, she comes from that same world. Trump knows who he's dealing with when it comes to Kathy, and Kathy is an easy target, and because she's a comic and she's a media person, and they've known each other for years. So Trump knew who Kathy was and has booked her before. So Trump just was very like, oh, let's go after this bitch and kind of test out the machinery. So, and I think what Kathy did, I mean, I'm all about freedom of expression, and in America we have that, and I think that she has the right to do that, to take that picture. Was it in poor taste? Yes, but at the same time, like, comedians are provocative, and art is supposed to be provocative, and she was using that. So from an art perspective, I think she has every right to do it. Whether it was in poor taste, that's for individual people to decide, but that was 6 years ago. Let's move on from it. And also, Kathy Griffin, is a very prolific comedian. If you don't think Kathy Griffin is funny, that's fine. But, like, she's one of the most prolific comedians. She has, like, I think 27 comedy specials out. Her body of work speaks for itself. And, like, she's one of the best stand-up comics ever. So I'm excited to see her again. I really want her to come to Baltimore. I am working on trying to get her to Baltimore. So that's probably the most I'm looking for in 2024. And also, I have some personal things coming out that, will be really good for me and my brand. So, yeah. All right, let's do two more. All right, Britney's dad being an amputee. Well, karma's a bitch. That's all I'm going to say. Karma is a bitch. So, boom. Although I will say, since you can't walk now, do you need a conservatorship? Oh, that was too dark. Oh, never mind. All right, I'm going to end this with Vanderpump Rules trailer and thoughts. What are your take? Oh, so Vanderpump Rules, I am looking forward to this. That's another thing I'm looking forward to in 2024. Vanderpump Rules Season 11. Season 10, just when I thought the show needed to be canceled, because Seasons 1 through 6 of Vanderpump Rules is some of the best television you'll ever see. It's probably the greatest reality show ever made. You can go and read my thesis on it. I fucking love Vanderpump Rules. There's a special place in my heart for it. Season 7, it started out strong and then went right down the tube. Season 8 and 9, they were almost unwatchable. It was bad. But season 10, with the whole Scandival, it came roaring back, and it's like, I love these people who were like shocked. Like, that's who Sandoval is. Like, come watch the show. Like, they're shocked. But it's like with Ariana, I kind of knew this would happen. Like, I'm not about her getting cheated on, but like, she knows who these people are. Like, we all know who these characters are, who these people are, and you fell for it. And, you should, there was always rumors in season 7 and 8 that Tom had cheated on Ariana with allegedly Billy Lee. And there is a whole queer subtext with Sandoval, which I actually fucking love. It goes back to the importance of being earnest subtext that I talk about in my thesis. But that was like played off the show. We never got into it because it's like that was the thing that made me so mad was I was hearing things behind the scenes with these people that I'm like, that would be really good on this season. And you would kind of see it, but they wouldn't talk about it. And it was like, come on. Where in season 10, it all came out and it was like, I loved it. But I will say with Ariana, yes, she's a victim. So people kind of redeem her. But when you really become villainous, and Ariana did, people are going to turn on you. And it's also fascinating because a lot of the other castmates are turning on her, and you could see that in the trailer. And I will say, fucking Sheena fucking delivered. I mean, she made out with Schwartz like in the first 2 seasons, and it comes out this season. Like, thank you, Sheena. Thank you, Sheena, for deliver. That's why I fucking love Sheena. She knows how to deliver good reality television, and it's like, blessed Sheena. She's a queen. And I wish like Chris and Doty would make an appearance. I've heard that she might, but I don't know. It's just fascinating. I'm really looking forward to Vanderpump Rules. So with that, I hope you guys enjoy this little espresso shot. Happy New Year. It's going to be a year full of just fucking amazing things. And I hope your Christmas was amazing, your holiday time. And with that, make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast, leave a 5-star review, all that fun stuff. And with that, I'm peacing out. Bye, guys.